All right, guys, so as I told you, second video for today. I'm talking really quickly about some like chipping. You can even apply this to pitching, some of the techniques that we're about to talk about. So really this is like a chipping and pitching basics video, okay? Again, using that rod on the ground, like I said in the last video, you're gonna see these a lot from me, so I would highly suggest getting them. Having this rod on the ground though is gonna play a big factor for us because it's gonna help us do a few things. One, obviously, as we learned in the last video, it's going to help me reference ball position and make sure that I'm getting this in the right spot. Two, it gives me a really good reference on where the handle is, and I'm a super visual person, so it allows me to have something that I can focus on and think about while I'm practicing. So I know some of you are afraid to think while we're practicing. You need to. It helps. So anyway, as we get set up and start talking about chipping basics, ball position for chipping and basic pitching, we're going to have it playing a little bit back of center. All right, I don't want this stick right in the middle of my feet. I don't want that stick right off my left foot. If I'm going to err, I'm going to have this stick in the ball almost right off of my trail heel. Again, for me as a right-handed player, that's going to be my right heel. Okay, I like my feet really close together. That encourages good body rotation. And a lot of my lessons when people come in for short game, they start with their feet really wide and they can't figure out why they're trying to scoop or flip the golf ball and help it up off the ground. So getting our feet fairly close together, I encourage my players somewhere around a club head to a club head and a half apart. That's going to, like I said, help me increase my ability to use my body's rotation. That also makes it a lot easier when I ask you to get your weight and everything forward in the golf shot. That's going to make that a lot easier as well. All right, so ball position's a little bit back of center. My feet are fairly close together. As you saw in the last video when I talked about setup basics, this handle should have pointed where? Right inside this left hip. Guess what? That's no different here when I have my short game, okay? That handle's going to be in front of the golf ball. That ball position being back is going to make it look like the handle's more ahead than it really is. It's not. It's still inside that left hip, just like normal, okay? With that being the case, I need to get my, this is to me is like the how do I want to say this? It's the least understood thing about the golf swing in the short game side of things, I should say. When we tell you guys as coaches to get your weight or your pressure to your lead side, and I watch people go to set up and they're like, oh, Jimmy said get my weight forward, and they go like this, and they kick their hip forward to do it, but now when I do that, you'll notice my chest leans back, I kind of tilt back. I go to chip this golf ball, and I'm going to hit the ground 6 inches behind the golf ball because of that. So when we talk about getting our weight or our pressure forward, we're not talking about just a hip bump. I'm not trying to hip check somebody. I actually need my chest and my hips ahead of the golf ball. So the way that I like to do this is before I even get bent forward into my posture and then try to get my weight forward, I do all of that before I even bend forward to address my golf ball. I'll get my grip on, ball position all kind of set up, and then from here, I take everything and I lean into this left side. Okay, so as you can see, I'm centered. Now I'm going to lean into this left side. Right? This right foot for me, my trail leg, is extremely light. You'll notice I can pick it up off the ground and you don't see me like shifting or leaning to move that, okay? So I lean into this left side so that this trail leg of mine is extremely light. Now with that being the case, from here as I bend forward to address that golf ball, you're going to notice now I am way out. My chest, my hips, everything are way out in front of that golf ball. That's going to help me strike more down into my golf ball, helping me hit the turf like I want to, and more importantly, where I want to. Leads me to my next question to you guys. Where should you hit the ground? Behind the ball, at the ball, or in front of the ball? Answer's always in front of the golf ball. So with this short game setup, as I start to have everything leaning into this lead side and then I bend forward, that allows me to get my low point of my swing in front of my golf ball, and now I'm trying to bottom out here in front of that, okay? Again, that's super important for contact and that magic word everyone throws at me, consistency, all right? Now, as we start getting into technique, how to make it go higher, lower, all of those things, Ball position might change a little bit. Club selection is going to play a really big key into that. How we utilize wrist angles and things like that is going to play a big factor. But from a basic setting up standpoint, this is really where it starts, okay? Now, getting into some basic movement of chipping and pitching after we get it all set up the right way, I'm going to pull out a glove, and I'm really going to keep this super simple for you guys. We're going to throw a glove underneath our lead arm. Again, as a right player, that's my left arm, all right? After I get all set up from here, I really have two goals once I nail my setup. I need to hold on to this glove at all times, and as I go to make impact with the golf ball, I want to feel like my lead knee, or again, right-handed player, my left knee, is actually starting to extend or straighten, like I'm standing up on that leg. I don't want to keep that knee bending and flexing because I'm actually going to end up bottoming out super far behind the ball. I start letting that lead knee extend. That allows everything to rotate. It gets my weight and everything moving forward. And again, that allows me to bottom out in front of my golf ball the way I want to. If I can start to accomplish these things, my short game will get significantly better and my consistency will go way up, okay? After you can kind of nail these things, then we can start, opening the face, closing the face, moving the ball around, changing some of the variables that set up to make the ball do a couple different things. But this is where it all starts. So if you have any questions about this, do not hesitate to ask. Look forward to seeing you guys on the range in the next week or so.